Find your path with the knowledge of others and become an illuminator for those who struggle. Guide their way just by being true and being in alignment, because it comes naturally to you. On self-discovery wisdom, we share to find inspiration with lessons for millions. We hope you listen.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Choose Positive Living right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I am your host, Sarah Troy. My wonderful guest is Furkhan, Dandia, a brand new daddy. Welcome to the world of parenthood. Amazing that he's getting any sleep. Baby's a week old. But today we're going to be talking about helping people reclaim their agency, meaning and dignity and adversity. He says his why is rooted in helping people reclaim that agency, finding their meaning, their dignity and their adversity, having lived through professional upheaval, family and legal battles, loss and deep inner questioning. He's seen how easy it is for people to become trapped in victimhood, self-deceptions, or systems that erode their sense of self. His work is driven by the commitment to truth, compassion, responsibility, supporting individuals and facing their pain honestly, integrating their shadow, and reconnecting with something greater than themselves. Whether that purpose values faith or service, he believes healing is not about being rescued, but about being empowered to stand upright, make conscious choices, and live with integrity, even when life is unfair. He began his professional life in engineering and business, spending 2 decades in high-performance, results-driven environments where problem-solving, precision, and accountability mattered. From the outside, things looked stressful, but life slowly introduced deeper tests: family, conflict, loss, legal battles, faith struggles, periods of profound uncertainty that no spreadsheet or strategy could solve. These experiences forced him inward and reshaped how he understood resilience, suffering, and responsibility, and ultimately chose to pivot into counseling, therapeutic work, not as a departure from the past, but as an integration by bringing structure, discernment, and grounded compassion into the spaces where people are navigating pain, identity, and meaning. Behind the profession, he is a father, a seeker, a truth of personal faith, someone who believes that healing happens when you are honest about the wounds and accountable about our choices and willing to stand up even when life is unfair. He has a book, The Pursuit of Self-Love, 30 Uplifting Messages and Reflections. So welcome to the show, Han.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
I love it when people redirect. You know, we all start off in a life, in a particular career where we think this is it, this is, what we've schooled for, or this is what we're designed for. And along comes either the nudge, nudge, wink, wink, or the cosmic 2x4, which shows you, okay, you're here to learn some skills and some tools, but this isn't your path. And when you actually recognize, okay, it's okay for me to walk away from that and go to where the heart is calling. Right? That does take courage. That does take strength. It takes self-awareness and a willingness to be vulnerable, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it doesn't get easier even when you choose your purpose, right? I know for myself, there's still some days where I'm like, oh man, life was pretty comfortable before.
Yes, there is ease to it, but was there satisfaction?
Absolutely. Yes.
And ultimately, the satisfaction is where the currency is, because it doesn't matter how much money you're making. If you're not getting satisfaction, then you're kind of feeling heart and soul poor.
Well, I think, yeah. And as you were reading that bio, the meaning piece is so important. There's no meaning in ease. And
no,
I've been able to experience that in many facets of my life, whether it's educational, academic pursuit, whether it's physical fitness, activity, or becoming a father, navigating life. There's all kinds of discomfort when you're choosing meaning for yourself.
I think that's where appreciation comes in. If it wasn't uncomfortable, if it was that easy, would you truly appreciate it? And I think that when we take these steps and we discover a little struggle in it. We don't want suffering. We want, the struggle is that navigation of
Hmm.
becoming, but it's that satisfaction and also a recognition of your own courage and strength. And, if I
Yes.
can do that, what else can I do?
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that does uh, kind of set up the blueprint for future endeavors, that I can often fall back on past experiences where things seemed insurmountable or very difficult. And I was questioning myself. But then through that resilience and
Mm,
persistence, I was able to navigate those situations. So that just allows me to build more confidence as I continue to confront different things
mm.
in life.
And I think it's like, everybody wants to know that what we're doing in life, it has an impact on somebody else's life in a positive way. We want to know that there's satisfaction where you feel you've contributed.
Mm-hmm.
You want to feel, I really do love this work. It's not, oh God, I've got to go to work. I love this work. And even if it is a struggle sometimes, especially if you go out on your own, it's not the same kind of paycheck, it's not the same kind of
Mm-hmm.
security. But the gratification, I'm doing something I love that's having a positive impact. And yes, the navigation to getting there and making it fluid can take a while, but just seeing somebody benefit from it,
Mm-hmm.
somebody benefit and discover themselves because of what you're doing is so illuminating, isn't it?
Mhm. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. But it starts with yourself, right?
Yes.
And there was a bit of a, I'd say, brief period of time when I was pursuing my schooling in psychology where I wanted to help, and I was trying to put myself out there as someone who can help, but I wasn't helping myself.
Hmm.
So there was that cognitive dissonance, and it did affect me. And I think I came to that realization eventually that I need to pour into myself,
Yeah.
and through that I can be a vessel where I can start helping and affecting others. But if I'm not living in congruence with that, then the message isn't going to land, no matter how
Mm.
powerful and positive it is. It's just not authentic when it's coming through.
No, you're speaking in it, not doing it, or not
Yes.
being it, right? And we do see that. We do see some people that are really great at telling you what to do, but they're not being that, right? And when it's coming from someone who's literally living it, because it's not words anymore, it's feeling,
Hmm.
right? And that feeling is connection and invitation. So you can tell the people that speak it and don't do it, and those that feel it and are it. And we want to
Hmm.
be that.
Yes. Ideally, yes, yes. Yeah,
But
for
and
sure.
I think everybody needs to understand that working on ourselves is not fixing ourselves. It's aligning ourselves. We've been brought up in a condition of expectation,
Mhm,
right? The high grades, go to university, get a good job, 2.2. I never get this one, 2.2 kids. I don't know how that works. The picket fence and all of that. All of this, you will be happy when you achieve this and you achieve that. But if you don't have connection to that, if that is not
mm,
where your heart is, it doesn't matter how much success you have it there, you're always going to feel disconnected and empty. We've got
mhm.
to let go of the societal expectation and start
Yes.
listening to ourselves from the inside out.
Yeah. Well, I often bring up that analogy for the clients I work with too, especially in the social media world we live in. It's
Mm,
easy to fall into that comparison mindset, and it's it's the recognition that we're all here, whatever belief you have, but we're here for a short amount of time in this world, and we're all going to have unique life experiences,
mhm.
unique choices. The things we go through is all going to be unique. So there's no point, as much as it's easy to compare and look at, oh, look, this person's living their life this way. It doesn't make sense because we're all unique and
Yeah.
individual. So I think that sometimes people get stuck in that, and
Hmm.
and then end up living someone else's dream. And I can
Yes.
speak about that from personal experience. When I was in that engineering career, had the house, had the family, all of that, but it wasn't my life. It was someone
Mm,
else's life. And it just, yeah, it was too painful to bear. That's where things started to fall apart.
yeah. And unfortunately, when people feel like this, It's not enough. I just don't feel the connection. I really want to move in a different direction. Outside forces. Well, what do you mean? You've got a good job. Don't wreck the boat. Don't try and be somebody different. And you get all of this outside force. And really, I always say to people, if you are on a journey of self-discovery, you need to insulate yourself away from people who are going to be resistant to your change. Some of it's out of fear, some of it's out of jealousy, some of it's out of how dare you, you've got to follow the status quo. But you've really got to kind of put a little bubble around you so that
Hmm.
you can hear what you feel from the inside out and not the bombardment from everyone else. I think that's kind of one of the first steps, isn't it?
Yeah, but it takes a lot of hard work to get
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
right? And again, from personal experience, based on my upbringing, I never really had confidence in my inner voice,
Hmm.
and it got basically silenced over time. And looking back, there were so many times where my inner voice was like, don't need to do this or don't do this. And then I had other people in my life at the time who overpowered that voice. And it would lead to outcomes that I knew would happen only if I had trusted myself. And over time, I got to that point. So
Hmm.
even last year, when I was transitioning full time into therapy, I talked to a bunch of people. In fact, I paid someone to speak with them for an hour to get their advice. And their advice was, don't do it. You're crazy.
Yes.
You're going to make a tenth of what you make. And
Hmm.
he gave me all the reasons, right? And
Mm.
he was a lot older, so lots of wisdom, lots of experience. The old me would have been like, yeah, like, what do I know? But
Hmm.
as you shared, based on everything I'd gone through and the choices I'd made based on trusting myself, I was able to not listen to that. I felt he was projecting his own fears onto me,
Exactly.
and I don't need to
Exactly.
take that on. But I also paid him money to get that message, right? So
And
it's funny how it
sometimes
works.
I know, but sometimes that negativity, and it's their projection, it's their fear, and you listen to it, and it just becomes more affirming. No, I've made the right choice.
Yes,
Right?
exactly. That was my
So,
conclusion. It was like,
mm,
that's exactly what I'm not going to do, what he's telling me. But I
mm,
needed to hear that
yeah,
to and go through that experience to truly believe in myself,
yeah,
right? So that was, I think, a test from the universe too,
hmm,
that, hey, how sure are you about yourself? And
right.
how many people that are going to try to talk you out of it, how many times are you going to say no?
And how many times is that inner voice going to override the outside voices? And
Hmm.
the more we listen to our inner voice, the louder and more affirming it is. Right. I mean, what we've got to understand with that inner voice, it's not just a little brain. It is an actually intellect in our heart, our soul,
Hmm.
our spirit. It is the universal God, universe, source, energy,
Hmm.
whatever you wish to tap into. It is that wisdom we're downloading that sits with our heart and truth, that
Hmm.
gives to our spirit an action for our mind to know the clarity it needs to know when it needs to know it. And it's a
Hmm.
certain knowingness and at peace. It doesn't matter what you say on the outside. I know in my core where I'm at, who I am, and what I'm here to do.
Hmm.
And it's like a beautiful deep breath, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's that. Absolutely. I agree. I think it gives you a sense of strength. It's given me confidence. And I feel like, in my case, God's got my back because I'm
Hmm.
listening to that message.
Yes,
So no matter what I may see in front of me, all the obstacles, I know He will guide me through it.
you're not
And
alone. You're
yes,
not alone, never
yes,
alone.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, people understand. People may look at certain people and say, but you did it all on your own. No, I surrendered and
Yes.
allowed myself to be guided. I
Hmm.
got out of my own way and allowed my feet to leave the ground and trust that wherever I was taken, I was meant to be.
Hmm.
Right. And that's a huge amount of I feel there's more control in the surrender that there is in trying to control everything.
Absolutely. And yes, there is that propensity for getting caught up in your own achievements and being able
Mm,
to take all the credit, because yeah, it's easy, right?
yeah.
People will celebrate the success. But I think the humility in that is looking back, even for myself, there's no way I would be where I am today on my
Mm,
own. Absolutely
right.
not. The way some things have come together, the only way I can describe it is like God winking at me that, hey, you
Yeah.
trusted your
Hmm.
voice and this is the result. And there's other things that are happening and forming, and I haven't seen them come into fruition yet, but I'm sure it'll be the same. It's just taking its time to cultivate.
Just the journey
Yes.
that you have to go on. You have the other side of things where people say, yes, but God, 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 and then they abstain from anything. God told me, God told me it's all God, blaming God. But
Hmm.
they don't take the message of what God or source energy is giving them and and become it, immerse in it, become the essence of it. Instead, it's like a detachment.
Hmm.
And you see this a great deal in people that are very entrenched in their religion. They're
Hmm.
absolutely abstaining from any accountability, responsibility
Hmm.
themselves because it's all about, well, this is what God wants me to do. Well,
Hmm.
if it's harming you or harming someone else, you're not getting the right message.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you're deflecting, right?
Yes.
Essentially. And yeah, and that deflection can happen in many ways. You can blame people, you can blame God, you can blame the system, you can
Yeah.
blame, I mean, if you want to blame and not take responsibility, I'm
Hmm.
sure you can find a million ways to do that. There's another concept that we talk about in the clinical work I do is spiritual bypassing as well, right? Where,
Mm,
well, God's got me. I don't need to put in any time and effort. And that's
right.
not the point, right? So that's
Yeah.
where it's finding that balance between, and it's a delicate balance between determinism and free will. We all have
Mm,
free will for a reason, right? Otherwise, we'd just be floating around and things would
hmm.
be happening for us. So, yeah.
It's all about connection.
Hmm.
I was very much about the free will and flapper
Hmm.
in the cosmos. And I
Yes.
found it really, really hard to kind of connect to the human realm because,
Mm.
humans as a species are the nastiest people with what they do to each other, but
Hmm.
have the potential to be the most divine and
Hmm.
beautiful heart and souls that you could ever come across, which
Mm.
is all choice. Right.
Hmm.
And when we choose that positive living, when we choose to be something that is going to be in service of one another and come from the heart, come from the soul, then we actually understand truly what our free will is. I choose to be loving. I
Hmm.
choose to come from the heart. I choose to honor this. And I will not be swayed or weighed by the expectation or the dictation of others because I come from the very core of
Hmm.
my essence and my being. But
Hmm.
you've got to take the rocky road to get there, to trust what that core is telling you, to be at one with that core. And if
Hmm.
that core says no, don't argue with it. Just don't argue with it. You go and do it because you didn't listen to the core. There comes the cosmic 2x4. If you listen to the core, it doesn't need to verify, justify, or any other phi. It just is.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And that's kind of been my reflection over the past few days, especially with my daughter. Every time I hold her, like she's
Mm,
small and fragile. And it's like, okay, this being that's come into this world is so dependent on her dad and her mom to protect her and take care of her. And it's just, yeah, it's just, it's crazy when you kind of sit there and recognize that, yes, we're making a conscious choice of bringing life into the world
yeah.
and taking care of it. But then on the flip side, we can easily fall into divisiveness and looking
Mm.
at others as being other than us.
Yes, yes. I think, I have three children all grown up, and it's my
Yeah.
third who's just had her third, right? He's
Yes.
4 months old. And, when you hold a child, it truly is the miracle of life. Any
Hmm.
life is a miracle when you think of how it comes about from one little seed, this
Yes.
incredible little miniature human being. And the way they look at you and the way they smile at you melts you. But
Hmm.
it also, I think, slows you down to pay attention to the little miracles, the little things of life. And I think if we stopped trying to um, dictate what our children should be and just allow ourselves to discover along with them who they are, be the wind behind their back, right?
Hmm.
Guide them with
Hmm.
sensibilities, common sense, and tools, but let them explore who they are and allow that exploration. Instead, we've become a society where we've dictated and confined
Hmm.
and conformed and suppressed who they are. And this is why we
Hmm.
have people of your age and my age, having to rediscover who they are. So why
Hmm.
can't we take our children and lead them
Hmm.
on that path
Hmm.
instead of them having to conform and then undo everything later?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was kind of my reflection. A friend of mine shared a little clip with Jeff Bridges, the actor, and he was
Hmm.
talking about how life is a blank canvas, and it may seem meaningless, but we're the ones who give it meaning, and we
Yeah.
all get this black blank canvas to start with, and that really hit me, especially the timing of it, and looking at my daughter, and yeah, that's exactly it. She's come into this world. We're obviously going to have an influence on her and how we
Hmm.
raise her, but at the end of the day, this is her canvas, and
Yes,
she
yes.
gets to pick, and it
Hmm.
started the day she was born, and it'll continue until she
Yes.
dies.
Yeah, I had a friend that used to say to her kids, I brought you into the world and I can take you out. And I just looked at her, and it was, you would do as I tell you. And it's like,
Mm.
you are bringing up children in a fearful way.
Mhm.
All right. And there's a lot of stuff to be afraid of out there. But on the home front, we want them always to feel safe to explore. And I think this is why we do get a lot of adults that want to step into free will, that want to step into that inner voice talking to them, but they've had a lifetime of
Mm.
everybody, telling them what to do or making them fearful to make that choice. And
Mm.
really, what they have to do is find the courage to face that fear and go,
Mhm.
that isn't my fear. That is fear that was imposed upon me.
Mm. Mhm. Well, I think that's where it comes back to the agency piece where we
Mm,
started the conversation. I have clients who get stuck in that, whether things happen to them
yeah.
through their family or choices they made, and they're so stuck in the past that they're unwilling to live in the present and realize
Hmm.
that yes, all those things that happen, not great, terrible, tragic, you can name it whatever you want, but today you
Yes.
have a choice, and you get to choose how tomorrow plays out based on the
Hmm.
choice you make today, and everything behind won't matter anymore. And it's just getting people to that realization. And again, I had to make that choice for myself too, where I was no longer being held as a victim because of what
Mm,
had happened. It was like, no, I can create that change for me by making choices. And I often tie it to the whole science of epigenetics too, right? We can easily sit there and, hey, my genetic makeup makes me this
mm,
way. It's like, well, not really. You can
mhm.
turn it off and
Yeah.
turn on new genes based on choices you make.
Yes, because there's so much complexity. There's our personality trait, our
Hmm.
DNA trait, our past life traits, our
Yes.
societal traits. All of those come into play. And I'm a personality trait coach
Hmm.
because I do feel that if we understand our human perspective and how we receive information, how we, um,
Hmm.
integrate with people, it gives us a better understanding to understand our calling and our messaging that's
Hmm.
coming to us, whether we're resisting or whether we're embracing. So I do feel that it's important for us to understand all the beautiful complexities of us, because
Hmm.
then we can actually take it and go, you know what, you're not serving me. Goodbye.
Hmm.
Right? Oh, this personality trait, or this is something that is in my genes, but I don't need it to be in the driver's seat. I need
Hmm.
to put it somewhere else where it's there when I need it, but it's not making the decisions. And I think we need to take more time to actually understand who we are and how we're made up. Is it religion? Is it culture? Is it societal? Is it
Hmm.
DNA? And have a look at that, but then take onus. Okay, now I understand why I did that, but I have the power to make the choice to go and do
Hmm.
this.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it all comes down to choice, and I think we give away our agency most of
Yes.
the time by not realizing the choice we have in many things. And I think part of it too is we end up focusing on things that are not within our control and
Yeah.
obsessing about that, and then you fall into this trap again where you're focused on the things that have absolutely no bearing on your ability to choose.
Yeah, you cripple ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've got an analogy of the sunny side of the street. And on the,
Okay.
across the road, you've got the sunny side of the street, and across the road are all the people like yourself. Now, they're
Mm-hmm.
there with skills and tools and heart and soul to help people on their own journey of illumination. But they've got to come out of the dark. We can't go in the dark to get them. Now, some people are ready to go right onto that street and seek the help. Some people, oh, it's too bright. Okay, come onto this side of the street in the shadows. You're out
Mm-hmm.
of the dark, you're in the shadow, let your eyes adjust to the light, and then start taking that journey. It doesn't all have to be in fifth gear. First gear is perfectly okay.
Mm-hmm.
But this side of the street can't help you until your free will is say, I'm there to help myself. Will you assist me on my journey?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree 100%. And I think as a therapist, I see that sometimes where people will come in well-meaning,
Yeah,
well-intentioned, open to change, but they have this expectation that just because they're talking to a therapist, things will get better.
yeah.
And to your point, it's yes, things may get better, but that means you have to put in the time and effort yourself, right?
Got to participate.
Yeah, I can't go do things for you. I can
No,
guide you
yes.
and I can work with you for you to identify what are the things you need to do. But if you're not going and doing it, then it's not going to work, right? And I
No.
use the sports analogy, right? You have a coach, they're going to give you the plays,
Hmm.
but you're the one who has to practice them, do the drills, and then you go out there and perform yourself. The coach isn't going to be doing the performance for you.
Exactly. It isn't about, I remember I had a client was, but fix me, fix me. And I said, no, it's not for me to fix you. It's for me to give you the tools to help yourself.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right. And that's the thing is a lot of people just want you to kind of, download an app and apply.
Hmm.
These shows, I call them listen, learn, and apply. There's
Hmm.
always something when you listen that you've learned that when you apply it can pivot or give you a different perspective on life. But we've got to be willing to learn, to listen, and to
Yes.
apply. If we do not want to participate in our own healing, in our own growth, we will never grow. We will never heal. You are there as the coach,
Hmm.
as the guide, with the skills, the tools, the cheerleading, the everything else, but they've got to apply. And if they
Hmm.
don't, you can't help them.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I would even challenge someone who would say, fix me, because
Yeah.
there's an assumption that something needs to be fixed,
Yes, yes.
but
And
that may
very
not be the
often when
case.
you look at that and you go, well, no, I wasn't broken. It was just I was treated as if I was broken.
Hmm.
Right. And
Hmm.
that comes again to that society. You don't look right. You're not earning enough. You haven't got enough likes. You haven't got this. Again, that societal dictation of what you should be. Right. And when
Hmm.
you look at all of that and go, hang on, that's where the broken system is. That's where the defect is. It's not me.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, just shifting that perspective can be helpful too, but
Yeah.
and you have to work with people to get them to see it that way.
Yes. And that willingness for them to take that journey. And I say that the first leap is the first step.
Hmm.
And nobody expects you to come out running. Some people do, but no, we don't. We want you to do step by step
Hmm.
because that's what makes you sure-footed. If you
Yes.
come out, I'm just going to do this, I'm going to give it my all. Well, that's all very good, but you're now trying to miss steps and you're
Hmm.
looking for the destination instead of treating it like a
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah. Well, and since we've been talking about babies and it's
Mhm.
really relevant right now for me is
Yes.
it's the small ad them adapting, right? So I look at my child, her digestive system and her gut is slowly developing. So we're
Mhm.
being very careful, right? And then when she's a few months old, she's going to start crawling, then she'll start tumbling and walking, and then
Yes.
it slowly evolves, right? And it's the same thing when we're doing the work on ourselves. I often remind people, like some people are very eager and they want to get into it. It's like, give me all the things I need to do.
Yes.
And I say, well, let's start with the foundational
Hmm.
thing, one thing that you can prove to yourself you can do consistently. And if you've got a solid foundation, it's like a house, then you
Hmm.
can start building on top of that. But if the foundational stuff isn't there and you try to do 5, 6 things all at once, you don't know what's working, what's not working, and you may not even establish any consistency with any of them, and then feel discouraged that this process doesn't work.
We don't want you to go back and rewire and replumb the house. We want you to do it properly as you're
Yes,
building it, right? And
correct.
that takes steps. And one of I think that things we're up against is what I call headliners.
Mm,
Everybody is, just give me the headline, give me the app, give me the big. What do you mean I have to take time? What do you
mhm,
mean one step at a time? What do you mean I have to go slowly? And that is because, again, society has put the foot on the pedal and said, if you want to get ahead, you've got to go full speed. No,
mhm,
you know, I used to be the hare with the hare and the
mhm,
tortoise. I'm a visionary. I saw it. I went after it, but I wasn't the builder. I wasn't the
mhm,
foundator. I've now become the tortoise. And I love
mhm,
being the tortoise because I pay attention to what's around me and who's around me. And I've learned more. I've absorbed more. I've appreciated more. Right.
mhm.
And I think to take people from the hare to the tortoise, there's a few wackaroos that they've got to have along the way.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's slow and steady for sure. And
Yeah.
that's where I see a chuckle around this time of the year where you see any gym you go to, there's a huge influx of people with the New
Yes.
Year's resolution, and then it fizzles out because they haven't built the foundation. They've shown
Mhm.
up all of a sudden and they're like, okay, I need to have this goal of being fit or going to the gym. But where's the foundational stuff? Where are the practices that lead up to you
Mhm.
being consistent of being someone that can go to the gym?
Mhm. But they want, oh, the results aren't happening fast enough. I'll go and do something else. And if
Mhm,
you want really good, solid results, it takes time to build,
mhm. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
I think the big P, patience
Yes.
and
Yes.
permission to give yourself permission to have the patience to just do the one step at a time and know that's enough.
Yes. But the consistency is more, I find, at least for myself and most people, is important. People don't want to your point, patiently put in the time
Mm,
over and over and over again, even if the results aren't there. Because going back to what we were talking about, when you believe and surrender to God, you may think you know what the results are,
mhm.
but He may have something better in store for you.
Yes.
And you might be closing yourself off or selling yourself short. So just being open that this is what I need to do consistently, and whatever comes out of it, trusting the process.
This little book, Who Moved My Cheese, have you read it?
No, you mentioned that in
Yes.
the call we
Yeah, in a
had. Yes.
conversation before, Dr. Spencer Johnson. It's like this is an old book and already 28 million copies sold worldwide.
Mm,
And it's so simple because it's two mice and two men around abundance of cheese. And one day the cheese is gone. And there's the
mm,
different reactions to each one. And you Sniffy and Scurry go sniff around and scurrying around for more cheese. Oh, no cheese. Let's go look for more. Hem and Ha, Ha is like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to look at. And then, my God, my stomach's hungry. I better go and find Sniffy and Scurry and see what they found. And then you've
mm,
got Ha, Hem. It's, give me back my cheese. Who am I going to sue? Who am I going to kill? I want my cheese. And those are the people who don't like change. And those are the
mhm,
people that generally stay in victim motion. You've done this to me. You took my cheese away from me. Instead of understanding everything in life changes. When you go with the flow, like the wind, like the rivers, like the oxygen and the blood in our body, when we're in flow, all it is an adventure of a new direction and journey. When you're
mhm,
resistant, right, then you're going to get mad or get victimized or get vengeful, everything that you're not meant to be. So it's,
mhm,
I think under that's, part of the true colors there of understanding which personality you are, that we've got to let go.
mhm.
And, it's the cheese is just gone, mate.
Yes. Yeah. What are you going to do with it now?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And I
Mhm,
think that's, it's just understanding life is fluidity. We're meant to be in flow.
mhm.
Now, we're not meant to be
Absolutely.
boxed, contained, chained. We're meant to be fluid creatures of free will
Mhm.
and, of service to one another.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
So tell us about the book,
Yes.
Pursuit of Self Love 30 Uplifting Messages and Reflections.
Yeah. So the book was basically a culmination of when I decided to, as much as I wanted to help others, when I came to the realization that I'm not helping myself, I created a practice. I would almost say it was a modern way of going into solitude. I was still interacting with the world, but I was being very mindful
Hmm.
and cautious of how I was interacting. But I put my health and well being at my number one priority. And I sat and reflected on a lot of the choices I had made or was making where I wasn't honoring myself. And so the majority of the book is just my thoughts and reflections over that period of time, which was pretty extended. I'd say at least a year. So then I decided to compile it into a book.
Mm.
And one of the things that really helped me was journaling. So what
Yeah.
I've done is in the book, there's prompts that people can use, and there's blank pages, which with each thought and reflection. So there's 30 where they can do 30 journal entries. I felt that 30 would allow anyone who decided to do it and commit to it, it would allow them to build a journaling practice and habit,
Mm.
because I feel most people give up before that. So having those prompts can be helpful. So you're not
Hmm.
having to figure it out. But yeah, so that's the purpose. Go through
It gets
that
people
journey.
into a flow too, right? It gets
Yes.
people into a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
You're under this programming and this pattern right now, which has not served you. This
Mm-hmm.
is why you're feeling so discontent with life. But when you
Yes.
get into a different rhythm and a different pattern that really is one that's benefiting you, it's a routine that serves the
Mm-hmm.
foundation of you, allows you to springboard and the your branches to go with
Yes.
the flow of life. But we do
Yes.
need a certain structure,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so this is allowing people to get into a structure, but you've prompted them with your thoughts, which
Yes.
invites them to acknowledge their own. And then
Correct.
in that space and moment, write it down and see it for
Mm-hmm.
themselves, which I
Yes.
think is really important. If you just ask them now, go and journal. I'm not one of those. When I was told to go and journal, it's like, no, I'm a
Yeah.
blogger. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
podcaster. I can pour my feelings and perceptions out there. But when you've got somebody prompting you, you've
Mm-hmm.
shared this, and now it's like, well, what has that prompted inside of
Mm-hmm.
me? Get it
Mm-hmm.
down, right?
Yes.
And then
Yeah,
read it back.
exactly. Exactly. So that's it. Like a lot of the thoughts are centered around honoring yourself, having gratitude, having humility, and being able to forgive, because that's one of the places where people get hung up, that
Yeah.
they don't want to forgive because they feel that condones the behavior of other people. So,
And I think that's a big one, the forgiveness, is that you're not condoning the
mhm,
act. You're
exactly.
forgiving for yourself because that means you're letting go of the pain. And if you don't forgive, then you stay the victim. That means you're always in pain and you're empowering them,
Hmm.
right? So if you don't want to empower them, let go of the pain, forgive them. It doesn't condone.
Hmm.
Um, you'll forgive, you may never forget, right? But I've had people who have had the most horrific things happen to them in life, things that should
Yeah.
never happen to a human being, come and tell their story. They chose to forgive and they can talk about their story now because they're detached from the pain. They can talk about it and how they came out and what they did
Hmm.
because they're no longer reliving it, even in the telling of the story, because they're detached. And a
Hmm.
great deal of that was the forgiving so that they were no longer attached to the victimization.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
It's a big one,
So
that, isn't it?
yes, and I think that many people struggle with it for obvious
Mm,
reasons. The other thing I often add is it's never a one and done, and it's not linear. You may
mm,
forgive someone, and then you remember another memory or another incident, then you have to go through that process again. So it is iterative, but it is healing for yourself, not necessarily for anyone else.
hmm. And it depowers the person that's caused you
Hmm.
pain. The other thing I think is understanding whoever's inflicted pain on you, you know that they're in pain. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, hurt people hurt people.
Hmm.
And because they haven't either had the guidance or the willingness to heal their own pain. This
Mm-hmm.
is why we see so much narcissism in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And these are people who didn't feel seen as a child, heard, that were hurt. And then it's become all about me, myself, and I at the expense of everyone else
Mm-hmm.
because they haven't been taught compassion or empathy or the ability to let go or to heal. It just becomes vengeful and
Mm-hmm.
eats up at them, which we're seeing so much at the present moment on steroids
Yes,
there. And
correct.
it really is a kind of a big awareness for us of if we don't take care of it, it will consume us and it will hurt other people around us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. I think at the end of the day, you have to even look at, well, what is it doing to me?
Yes.
Right. And you're basically taking yourself down. And
Yeah.
when people are in a healthier state and they've done their work, I see this even in the addiction recovery I do, you remove yourself from that toxicity. Right. So it becomes a very lonely and isolated place if you're
Mm.
just going to try to drag others down with you. Some may stay, others will eventually leave.
Yes. Yes. You know, I find that people of addiction that are now willing to heal,
Mm-hmm.
have much better chance of healing and overcoming and having a good life than those with narcissism, because one of the conditions of narcissism, it's never their fault.
Mm-hmm.
They've never done anything. They just don't take any ownership at all. Where if you have somebody that's addicted and then they understand where their addiction came from and that they
Mm-hmm.
have the power within them to change that, then you can really see some wonderful results. Obviously not all the time, but you know we really
Yes.
can see it. But I feel with a narcissist, how many narcissists admit I'm a narcissist and I'm going to do
Well,
something about it?
yeah. Well, and it doesn't always have to be put a label on it. At the end of the day, take some responsibility
Yes.
to the
Yes.
point of just taking responsibility that I am responsible for my life.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all again, we were talking about baby steps at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning or earlier. Just, yeah, that's the first baby step you need to take is I'm responsible for my life. And that's all you need to focus on.
It may have been done to me, but I'm going to change it as happening
Hmm.
for me.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. And I think once we look at that, is yes, somebody did you harm.
Hmm.
What are you going to discover about yourself to make it that it empowers you?
Hmm.
Right? You're going to be the victim, or are you going to be the triumphator and say, no, okay, I'm going to get back up. I'm going to stand tall. I'm going to have my own free will, move forward.
Hmm.
That when you discover that courage and that strength and that empowerment within yourself, right? Is this then you
Hmm.
realize there's so much more that you can do and
Hmm.
face.
Hmm. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Do you think that, you know, people seek out a therapist that there's a certain amount of courage that's needed there, you know, like the courage to admit I need help? Because I think that's,
Mm,
you know, most people don't want to admit they need help. We've
mm,
again the stigmatization of society is that if you go to a therapist or if you need help, there's something wrong with you, you can't cope
mm,
with it yourself. Whereas anybody and everybody that does have a therapist that has somebody they can talk to, who says, no, this is what keeps me on the equilibrium. This is what
mhm.
stops me from going, you know, this way or that way. But do you find that for a lot of people, that first step of saying, I need a therapist is, you know, one where that stigma is pushing against them?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's a big, big step to your point. It does require courage, but then I see people fall into different camps as well. So there'll
Mm,
be some that maybe their partner is saying, "Hey, you need to go." So then to appease their partner, they may go, or they may take that as feedback and be like, "Okay, I'll try it out." They come in with an
hmm
open mind. So there's a bit of that. There's others where it's kind of become a trendy thing too to
mm,
be able to go in social gatherings and say I have a therapist. I'm
mm.
obviously exaggerating, but
No, no, no.
it is a bit trendy now.
Yes.
So there's that. And then there's, as we were talking about earlier, there are people who expect a magic fix just because they're
Mm,
going to see a therapist. But yeah, I think for the most part, people that come in with an open mind and willingness that, hey, I'm trying to do it on my own. It's some of it is working, some's not. Maybe I can use a different perspective. Or in
mm,
some cases, I just need someone to talk to because I don't have that in my life. I don't have the friends where I can open up and have those conversations for whatever reason. It gives them an outlet to be able to have a safe space where they can be vulnerable and know that it's not going to come back. Right. So a lot of
Right.
men especially struggle
Yeah.
with that, hey, if I cry in front of my best friend, are they going to be worried? Is that
Mm,
something that's going to stick around? Is it going to be like that elephant in the room next
yeah.
time we hang out? So a lot of men have that fear. And most of the people I do work with are men. So yeah.
Mm. You've also got, this thing, well, I don't know how to tell my spouse I'm
Mm-hmm,
worried
mm-hmm,
because now they're going to get worried,
mm-hmm,
or that I'm stressed. And like, in case of what, you've got a new baby. So
mm-hmm,
mum is obviously, navigating, and then you feel her stress and fatigue. And, it's, am I doing enough? Is she doing enough? And, you need that outlet to talk to someone, just to be able to download the things that you can't say to your partner, right? Because you don't want to worry them. And really, all
mm-hmm.
you needed to do is just spend the emotion
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
in
yeah,
a safe place. Hmm.
exactly. Yeah, and that's all it is at times, is just having a healthy outlet where you can talk to someone and
Hmm.
not bottle it up or suppress it
Yeah.
or feel like you have to carry that burden on your own.
Or feel it's so ridiculous. Oh
Mhm,
God, it's so ridiculous. Why am I letting this bother me? It's just stupid. No, no. If it's something
mhm.
that's bothering you, you need to get it off your chest in a safe
Yes,
place,
correct.
because
Yeah.
otherwise it will gather its own energy and momentum.
Yeah, there's a lot of shame I hear too, where people will say, "Well, I shouldn't be feeling this," or "I should be able to get over it." And in that, if you really, you know, unpeel the layers and pick it apart, there's so much shame behind that. So then it's figuring out, okay, well, why are you even saying that to yourself?
Yeah,
Why is that there? So let's
yeah.
start unpacking that more and more.
I feel that kind of really in the last decade, more and more people are seeking
Mhm,
therapists for whatever level, where, a decade or 20 years ago, for instance, I've sought help, and all but one, they ended up on the couch.
mm, mm,
Because I've just always been the person to help that for other people, and so it ended up
mhm,
being reverse role. Um, but I think it's that we've got to understand when we, align with our God energy source, whatever we want to call it, and we hear the messaging and the voice, it guides us beautifully forward. But we've still got the human element, and the human, to be actually a human can be very difficult. It's very, really hard to navigate, because
mhm,
there's so much static and messaging and people
mhm,
imposing and everything else, that sometimes, this voice is pure. This voice has no agenda other than in a place of love and empowerment, where
mhm,
these other voices are one about tearing you down. And so you need help for that side of the equation. you know Listening to your God absolutely will help a great deal. But if you
mhm,
feel this side of you is kind of, I just don't know how to navigate this,
mhm,
this is where you definitely need somebody who's there with
mhm,
the ear, um, the being able to mirror back how you feel, and show them how you feel. Because if we understand what the fear is, we can combat it, we can face it. But if we don't understand where it's coming from, then it finds its way and worms its way through you. And
mhm.
so we want to always be able to face what it is.
Yes, yes, in due time, right?
Hmm.
And sometimes what I encourage people to do is be honest with yourself that, hey, this is too big of a monster for me to confront right now, and
Hmm.
that's okay. But
Yes.
don't deceive yourself or deny that the monster isn't there, because then
Mm.
you're only going to continue to suffer.
You might even need to actually understand a closed door on that
Mhm.
monster at the present moment. Okay. No, I found the key to lock the monster out. I'm not ready to open that door and face it. I need to get stronger on this
Yes,
side. But I
yes,
found the key to keep the monster out at the moment.
yes,
and and that
exactly.
in itself is empowering, right?
Mhm, mhm. Yes. Yeah, and I see people, they'll pretend like the monster's not there, and that's just more
Mm.
suffering.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Monster's at the door. And it only has power over you and the power that you give it.
Correct.
So
Yes.
when we learn that when we stop giving it power, we depower it. We've empowered ourselves. And if we
Mm-hmm.
can depower that, what else can we empower else in our lives?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not just counseling for the problem,
Mm-hmm.
it's empowering ourselves to actually resolve problems that come up in our lives because we've gone through the process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and I think the other thing I see is people will then try to be in denial. You know, we can talk about some of the issues we're seeing in the world today, and some
Mm,
people will kind of be like at arm's length, saying, "No, I don't want to talk about it because by talking about it, I'm giving it energy."
yeah,
And it's like, well, yes and no. You can acknowledge that it exists. So it's yes and, right? So I know it's there, but what am I doing and how am I doing my part to make things better? So to deny it or not
yes.
acknowledge it, you're just living in a naive world and you're only creating more hardships for yourself.
I kind of feel then you're a part of the problem because if we're going la, 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 right? It's not me, la, 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 I'm
Hmm.
going to ignore it. And then suddenly it's knocking at your door and look up, how did it get there? You didn't
Hmm.
pay attention to the signs. You didn't stand up for those
Hmm.
that were being victim. And I
Hmm.
feel, whether we stand up just behind the voices or we become the voice or we do one kind act
Hmm.
somewhere, I
Hmm.
feel that we can acknowledge it. The trick is how do you acknowledge it? Empower yourself to be a part of the solution without the anger or the angst and the anxiety of what's going on. That's, I'm a most certainly spiritual empaths, but an environmental empath. So I feel that, and it can get me completely riled up. And it's like, well,
Hmm.
what am I empowered to do that I can empower others to do? And
Hmm.
but so many people I talk to, well, I don't watch the news. I don't want to know about that. And I feel, well, this is how they have power because
Hmm.
you're abstaining from it. We do need to acknowledge and we do need to know what is within me that I can help society get through
Hmm.
this and not
Hmm.
become the victim. It's not just about
Hmm.
our personal victimization, it's our societal victimization.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think sometimes people don't confront things until it's in their backyard or it's
Yeah.
affecting them
You could have
directly.
prevented.
Yeah, or done something sooner for sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and I
absolutely.
think this is what the invitation is right now, from the old cosmos, from the universe. It's the invitation is for us all to stand up and rise up into a higher consciousness, one of compassion, caring, collaboration, cohesiveness, empathy, kindness, love. And, if we want love in the world and kindness in the world, we've got to be that love and kindness.
Hmm.
If we want peace in the world, we've got to breathe that peace. In order to bring all of that around in the world, we've got to become it.
Hmm.
You don't just owe it to yourself, you owe it to everyone else that interacts with you.
Hmm. Hmm. Absolutely. Yes, I
So
agree.
it's an important journey for people to understand. We don't perceive you as broken, but what
Hmm.
we do acknowledge is that there's a broken society that you've become a victim of. And we want to help you navigate through it
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
empower yourself, empower your calling, empower your abilities that then in
Hmm.
turn will help others along the way.
Yes. Yeah, you may be a victim to it, or you may be victimizing others, and
Yes.
neither is okay. But
Yeah.
to your point, if you step into that calling or path, whatever it is, that it is yours only, you it's back to that agency piece, but you can
Mm-hmm.
create so much
Yep.
change, even if it's just
Mm.
starting with yourself. Doesn't have to be other people, just yourself. And if we all
Yes.
did that, then things shift significantly.
Energy shifts.
Hmm.
Everything shifts. The way we
Hmm.
treat each other, you treat people how you wish to be treated yourself, right?
Hmm.
Again,
Hmm.
the hurt people hurt people. But what if you were kind and nice and you were kind and nice to everyone, right? Sometimes just doing an act of kindness can literally change someone's day, can
Hmm.
change their trajectory. Just saying, like, I see you, I acknowledge you.
Hmm.
We're in a world where so many people feel unseen and unheard.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes, exactly. Yep.
So you may have walked away from the expected job, well paid job, respectable job, but you chose to go and listen to your calling and do your own healing and investigation, and now, compelled to help other people, which I applaud, because I always feel that when we redirect to what we're really designed here to do, when we really are in alignment, this is who I am, why I am, and what I'm here to do, it really is quite a divine journey.
Mm-hmm.
It really is something that, no matter how difficult the day may be, the satisfaction of knowing
Mm-hmm.
that you're doing something that's there to help others and it feels right and true to you. So I
Mm-hmm.
applaud you for taking that journey, and hope
Thank you.
that others that are listening to understand money is very, very important, but the enrichment and the abundance of a heart, soul, and spirit is such higher currency.
I agree. Yes. And thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
And, I know it's not an easy job. It's not,
Mm-mm.
the job you've chosen, but also walking away from something. But again, I've been doing this nearly 14 years. I've interviewed so many people that live that expectation life. And they
Mm-hmm.
said, I just never felt purposeful. I never felt connected. I just felt I was being a slave.
Mm-hmm.
And when either the back 2x4 or they walked away, something happened. And now they're doing something that they really feel from the core of their being is a better contribution, because they're a better human being,
Mm-hmm.
because they're
Mm-hmm.
being true to who they are and what they're here to do.
Yes.
Ultimately, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think a lot of people I talk to who are in retirement or close to retirement, they have that loss of identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they've spent 30, 40 years of their life pursuing a purpose that they were told that, hey, this is the corporate purpose, this is
Yes.
what you need to do. And when I bring that back to myself, the best way I can explain it is when I'm living the divine purpose, that's where I'm going to end up anyways, when all this is said and done. So at least I'm in alignment with it and there's
Yeah.
no tension. Now, does the purpose stay the same? No, it continues to
It
evolve.
grows,
So
it
yeah.
evolves.
And
Yes.
and I keep adding things. Now I've
Yeah.
got additional purpose with the birth of my daughter, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
now that involves guiding her and
Yeah.
being a support for her and uh, encouraging her to go out into the world and do that for herself. So there's just
And
another
it's what
layer
you
to that.
learn from her.
Yes,
You will learn so much from just
correct.
observing her, that you will incorporate in what you're doing, because our children teach us so much. So does
Yes.
our animal kingdom.
Hmm.
When we learn to kind of observe and feel and take in, we realize, oh, so many beautiful layers, right? So many different beautiful things that we can incorporate, that we've
Hmm.
been so channeled to go that way, that
Hmm.
taking the skipping down the road and enjoying life and what's around you is so much more enriching and
Hmm.
beneficial. So
Yeah.
yes, and also, people that are on that retirement. Again, how many people do I interview that retired from that job and have now gone into doing something they really love to do? And they're in their 70s, they're in their 80s, and they say, I still got so much to contribute.
Hmm.
But now I'm
Hmm.
really contributing from a place of something I love to contribute. Right. And
Yes.
it's never too late, ever.
No, absolutely. No, it's never too late for sure.
So you work mostly with men, but with women as well.
Yes, yes. I work with women, occasionally with children, with families, couples, but I would say 95% of my clientele are men.
And for men, trying to find someone that hears them, that sees them, that they trust, that they can be vulnerable with. That's the greatest gift you can give someone, is your vulnerability and trust, right? And if you've got 95% of the men feeling, I can give you my vulnerability and trust, that's really big. And
Yeah. Yeah, and everyone comes at it from different walks of life,
mhm,
different challenges that they're confronting. But yeah, ultimately, there's a shared understanding. Just being a man in society and some of the
yeah,
experiences we share, even if it's not the same thing, there's
yeah,
that mutual understanding of what it is. And just
yeah,
like you said, feeling seen and heard. And for so many men, that's never been something we've
mm,
experienced. So to get that is is a gift for them, right? And
yes.
I'm grateful I get to be a part of that.
Whether it's societal dictation, culture, dictation. It's a if you're not allowed to be true to who you are, if you're not allowed even to explore who you really are and what you're here to do, because you must conform to that culture, to that expectation, we're denying our very essence and presence, and to be in a safe place where you can make that discovery. And
Hmm.
that if this, I'm okay to be this. And then as you grow stronger and stronger, then you can face your environment and say, no, I'm
Hmm.
not that. I am this, and I stand tall in who I am. But you need that safe place to discover that, right?
Yes.
And the
Correct.
skills and the tools to know how to do it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's very important. So,
Yes.
A, how do people find the book? Also
Hmm.
find you. What's your booking thing like, and a few of your social medias as well.
Yeah. The book can be found. I think I provided you with the
Yeah,
link, so it's through the publisher directly.
yeah. Book
That
Freeze
way,
and Press. Yeah,
yeah, that way it's a bit cheaper than going to Amazon. But at Amazon, you can get the Kindle version, which is also a lot cheaper than the actual hard copy. So
hmm
there's different ways of finding it. But you've already shared the title, Pursuit of Self-Love, 30 Uplifting Messages and Thoughts. So there's that. There's in terms of finding me, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn or Instagram. So my handle, so my name you can use to find on both.
Can you
And
spell your name, please, left for people who are listening?
yeah, Furkhan, Furkhan, and last name Dandia, Dandia. So LinkedIn or Instagram are the two medias where I'm the most active, and then you can kind of shoot me a message or whatever. There's links you can use to through my Psychology Today page, which is there. Um,
And
and
you got your
then
website?
yes, so my website is unoyazen.com, eunoiazen.com. So that will basically give you access to everything that I'm
Right.
talking about, including my podcast. So,
Right.
and
The EZ conversations. And of
yeah,
course, you've got Reflections newsletter,
yes,
beehive.com subscribe, and you're also on
yeah,
TikTok,
yes,
Inonia
yeah,
Zen.
yeah,
So, people can catch you everywhere. And,
yes.
I think there's always somebody that's listening that, I know somebody that could really benefit you, but how to get them to you. And so
Mm,
even having, a conversation with you, how do I get my dad, my
mhm,
husband, my
yes,
brother? And it's like, again, that we've shamed people, you
mhm,
need somebody. No, no, everybody needs an ear.
mhm, mhm,
Everybody needs someone where they feel safe to be able to speak. Of, I'm going to get laughed at if I share this. No,
mhm,
with in a safe place, you won't. We might be laughed with, but not laughed at.
yes,
Right. And that's the thing is people need that safe place to download,
mhm,
to deal with what's before it gets too big. We want to catch it at the molehill, not the mountain.
yes,
Right.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
if you know
yeah,
somebody that's, struggling, share this podcast,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Send them this podcast and just say, I listened to this and it was inspiring. Excuse me. And,
mhm,
and, and you invite them and say, hey, how about just giving it a try? Because let's get go of the matcherism, let's let go of the stigmatism, let's go of the dictatorial from everybody of what is what. If you feel you need it, go and do it,
mhm,
because we want you to be empowered to be the best that you can be. And the only way you're going to do that is seeking the help that's going to guide you on that journey. So that
yeah,
two ways you're not alone. When
mhm,
you're in alignment with your God, you're not alone. But when you're in alignment with the therapist that's got you, that hears you,
mhm,
doubly not alone. Right. So you're
yes.
covered on both sides.
Yes, absolutely. And we don't have to do it alone, right? As much as we feel or we've been told. So, to your point, breaking those chains that have confined us at times.
And I think, another thing that people look at, oh, it's expensive to go to a therapist. No, no, no. You put good food inside of you as nutrition. This is nutrition for your well being. This is
Hmm.
nutrition for your heart, soul, your mind, your very body. You've got to look at it as investing in you. And if you're not willing to invest in you, well, you know, one drug solves it all. No, it don't. No, it don't. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It takes more courage and bravado to be willing to go through the journey of your own self-healing. But at the end of it, my God, who you are and what you're here to do is absolutely magnificent. So I think it's like,
Mm-hmm.
just give it a try. You don't know how it's
Mm-hmm.
going to help, right? So you're
Yeah.
there, and despite little baby, maybe not getting much sleep, but that happens when you're a parent. We can relate to that. But
Yeah.
it's as I said, every single day that this baby grows, there's going to be something more that you'll learn, not just about the baby, but about yourself. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's something they switch on inside of you that, oh, I didn't know I could feel this way. I can see it that
Oh
way.
yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
quite exciting. So, welcome to the
Mm-hmm.
world of parenthood. But I think, I often look at our own self discovery, our own journey to who we are as a gestation and giving birth to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And, it can be uncomfortable and it can be painful. But my God, the end result is just absolutely sublime. So
Yes.
be willing to go through the process. It may be hard in the beginning, but the more and more you immerse in it, and the more and more you empower yourself, the more and more you make discovery of who you are. And at the other end of it, there is not one person that's gone through it and says, I
Mm-hmm.
wish I didn't do that. Every single one of them says, I wish I'd done it sooner.
Yes.
So
Absolutely. Yeah.
invest in yourself, whoever you are, invest in yourself.
Yeah.
That
Well, and the other thing I would offer, I know a lot of times people have asked me, well, they're trying to encourage a family member or
Yeah.
someone close to them to seek out therapy, but there's a lot of resistance. And the other thing is, if you've got, say, you fractured a bone in your foot,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to go see a specialist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you might see a couple or
Yeah.
maybe more than that just to get another opinion, but you're going to go see someone who knows what's
They're
going
doing.
on.
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage people to think about therapy the same way. It doesn't have to be a lifelong commitment. It could just be even a couple of sessions just to see what's going on and getting another opinion, and opening yourself up to that to see what's going on, right? And sometimes you may
Exactly.
have to see multiple therapists to feel comfortable and trust the one you're talking to is understanding, and you're building that relationship with them on trust.
We hold trauma in our body, in our
Hmm.
cellular structure,
Hmm.
our minds, again, the conditioning and the bombardment. And if we're not connected to the wisdom, we don't know how to use the data,
Hmm.
right? And if the data is constantly running on defense or hysteria, it starts consuming the body. And then
Hmm.
you have dis-ease. So we have to look at it as the therapy for the mind so
Hmm.
that it can be in equilibrium with the rest of you, right?
Hmm.
So as you said, you've broken something or you pulled a muscle, you go and get treatment for it. Look at
Hmm.
it, your discontent or your, disconnect that's going on there is just a realignment, right? You do it
Hmm.
on your car, you do it on your computer, you do it on everything else. Why don't you do it on yourself?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So, and I think that again comes very much from past thing. And no, we're present. And we're present and we're saying it's not only okay, it's really quite imperative that you do just to even
Hmm.
get yourself back on track, right? That's something that's so very important. So
Hmm.
again, that website is eunoiazen.com, and reach out to him, set up a chat. The book, you can buy it on Freeson Publishing or Amazon. And, even maybe just start off with the book if you like. Start
Hmm.
off with the book. His prompts. What does it prompt out of you? And be present with that feeling. Don't go away and go, oh no, I've got to write down what people expect. No, we
Hmm.
want you to pour down how it's made you feel. What's it prompted in you?
Hmm.
Then step away. Go away, go and do something, then come back and revisit it. It will reveal things about yourself that you didn't know were there, that were desperate to come out. So maybe you just start with the book and then you realize, I need to take this a little further. I need to reach out to Furkhan,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I appreciate that. And like you said, I've had people reach out where, hey, maybe my father can use some therapy or someone to talk to, and that happens too, where family members are reaching out as well.
Mm. Then it's getting them to do it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And,
Baby
you know,
steps.
baby steps. Yes. You
Yeah.
know, putting the carrot in front of them. Come on,
Hmm.
come on. But, you know, again, that goes back to the sunny side of the street and the free will. But I think if, you know, if people have been in the dark for so long, they don't realize they're in the darkness. But when they keep
Hmm.
seeing persistently that sunny side of the street calling, eventually they'll find the courage to come out. Hey, what's going
Yes.
on out there? Right? So we've got to understand we need to participate in our own lives. The more we participate and honor and celebrate and align within ourselves, the more productive we are in society, more we become the solution to what society needs, and more purposeful, meaningful, and happy with who we are and what we're here to do. But we've
Yes,
got to take ownership.
exactly.
Thank you so much for being here today, hun. And
Well,
let you
thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm really honored to be here and looking forward to chatting with you again next week.
Yes, definitely. And also, you know, go and hold that little baby. Every time you
Yes.
hold it, it'll do something else for you. So they are wonderful little creatures that are just so
Hmm.
exciting to watch as they grow. So congratulations on that. And to
Yeah.
everyone else out there, female, male, whoever you are, we all need guidance. We all need someone we can trust to speak, even if it sounds utterly ridiculous. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just pour it out in a safe place. And then you're spending that emotion rather than becoming emotional about the emotion. And then it just helps you navigate moving forward. There is no shame in having support on our journey of life. So until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you to listen to right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Come and hear the illumination that's going to shed light on your path.
Find your